Let's try this.
Hey guys, so if any of you have been following me for any of my videos, you know that I kind of like to troll around in Chantal's chats and see people discussing whether they have channels or if they create content. And then I'd like to go and search those people out and see what they're putting out in the world and see if they're anything similar to Chantal. Well, I was watching her live stream from yesterday, and she was going off on reaction channels and how horrible they are and how vile they are. And her whole chat was cheering her on. And I can't wrap my head around how people can watch her and agree with what she does and then say the things that they say about reaction channels. And then I noticed a message in chat. And I followed that rabbit hole, and I have seen the light, guys. I finally get it. I understand. I am hoping that you would be willing to take this journey with me and that maybe you too will see the light and understand why things are the way that they are. So I'm going to get us over to Foodie's live stream from yesterday, and we're going to take a peek at the chat.
So that's who that person is, apparently. I've never watched a single one of their videos, but I've heard plenty of people tell me, Salah has seen, bad for the blood pressure. Yeah. Uh, how is what I'm doing right now any different? I'm just saying, basic. Did I insult anybody? What did I say insulting? I'm describing a situation very calmly. I don't have an entire hate channel talking about other people. I don't take people's content every single day and make a stream ganging up on the same person and saying very vile things about them. Do I? No. Rosemary's! They love the attention. They're vultures. Exactly like I said.
Okay, guys, so the message that caught my eye is this one right here. And it says, yes, it's hypocritical, but honestly, ignore all of those people because they love the attention. They are vultures. That's why I made a mini documentary. Jesus said, he without sin cast the first stone. Mini documentary, you say? I'm there. You don't have to ask me twice. I've never seen a Beezer create a documentary. They might be out there, but I haven't seen one. So I scooted on over to search for this person, and I found a Foodie Beauty documentary, a different perspective. Later in chat, they do complain that their um, video was age restricted. It also has to have this warning on it because of what they choose to cover in the video. But I thought for full transparency and understanding, we would go ahead and read the video description together, take a peek at it, um, and I'm going to let you see the light as I did. It says, for years, Chantal, also known as Foodie Beauty, has been ripped apart by the public, mostly thanks to reaction videos. While they love to hate her and spread toxicity, they exploit her vulnerability and fragility with twisted truths and things taken out of context so they can benefit financially. But behind the headlines, the reaction videos, and the endless drama is a human being. This documentary is about education, perspective, humanity, and maybe a chance for healing. Then they offer a warning, and then it says, remember Britney Spears and so many others who were pushed to the brink because the internet and paparazzi destroyed their lives. So I guess they're saying that Chantal is a superstar. What about my Koreans and others who never made it back? We don't care until it's too late. When will humanity stop kicking people when they are already down? It's never too late to change the world. Chantal, aka Foodie Beauty, reached out to the world in her most vulnerable state. Instead of compassion, she was mocked, stalked, harassed, and bullied. Yes, she reacted. Most of us would. But few realized she was also dealing with serious issues, hormonal struggles, radical hysterectomy, other serious medical problems, broken relationships, while dealing with the haters from YouTube and the grief of losing her grandmother. Meanwhile, the wolves of the internet circled. Even after she deleted video, an obsessive fan archived everything and gave reaction channels free access to exploit her life. People call it fair use, but it's not fair or humane. If you watch those reaction videos, you are enabling the hate. How can we expect children to be better humans if we adults keep paving the road for cruelty? This isn't just a story of Foodie Beauty, it's a story of us, the devolution of humanity. So that's the description. I have a funny feeling this is the kind of person that's going to issue copyright strikes for anything um, that they feel is negative. So we are going to take a peek at the video for just a little bit so you get a feel of what it looks like. Um, and then I'll let you know what I have realized. So here we go.
Mama, take this badge off of me. I can't use it anymore. It's getting dark to see. Feel like I'm knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking
Well, nice to see nothing's changed.
on heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Mama put my guns in the ground. I can't shoot them.
Okay, I'm going to pause that. So it says she deleted her videos, but some crazy person has been saving every video she ever made and storing them on his private server for all to use. That's illegal. It's actually not. You're putting it into the public sphere, which means it is then there for the public to consume and download and use. If that was illegal, YouTube would not give us the option to download. Like they are letting us take their content and downloading it so that we can have it. It then goes on to say that Mr. Snowflake from YouTube used her content illegally to make his fake documentary about her from this illegal archive. Um, this right here um, is what made my brain click. Um, I was sitting there and I was like, how does this work? I have watched the Snowflake documentaries. He literally is using their own content, their own words, and then commenting on it. And I think it hits differently because, we watch these things play out in real time, but, they will act ridiculous one day. And then we have a week of normal and kind of boring, and then we get another outburst. And so it doesn't seem quite so intense and shocking until you start putting it all, you compile it all, and then you're like, oh, okay. So why can you have this opinion knowing that it's her videos that she deleted? She obviously deleted them for a reason. She didn't want people to see what she had done. But then how can you still support her? And I realized that the people who view Chantal as well as support her do so because they are like her. Watching Chantal is like holding a mirror up to themselves. And they're like, oh, I'm not alone. She's just like me. It's okay then. I'm okay. Well, the problem then becomes that you have reaction channels that are pointing out the things that are wrong. In the description, he talked about making a better world for our children and how can we give them something better when people are so vile like reaction channels. Do you realize what kind of a place the world would be without people like reaction channels, whether it's actual channels or just people that exist in the world? What if everybody in the world sat back and kept their mouths shut when they saw something wrong? Yes. Do they sometimes comment on looks? Of course they do. Do they sometimes comment on hygiene and different aspects? Yes. Do people sit and laugh? Yes. I honestly don't know that we could consume this content if we couldn't laugh. If we didn't have people in the world who could say, let me present you with the most hideous thing you're going to see today, but I'm going to get you through it. And I'm going to get you through it through laughter. That's how we can wrap our heads around this behavior. But when the reaction channels sit there and they're saying, this person is vile, this behavior is unacceptable, I cannot believe that this is being allowed. As a viewer, if you are watching because you identify with them and because it makes you feel better about who you are because you are like them, you then have to sit there and say, am I vile? Is there something wrong with me? Is the fact that I agree with them, does that say something about my character and my moral code? And I think that's why people defend her and Amber and Rosie so much. Because while we look at it and we're like, why are you defending them? Why is this happening? They're, at the end of the day, they're really defending themselves and their choices. Because if somebody stops looking at them and moves over, you stop looking at Foodie and you start looking at the people that are in her comments, somebody eventually is going to start having the same commentary on them, the same standing on them. Which brings me back to Foodie, because right before all of this happened, she was going off on reaction channels and what is wrong with reaction channels. And oh, and so I wanted to comment on this because I think um, I honestly think, guys, that it will help. It'll help us to understand better why it is the way that it is. Um, because she's no longer just having issues with certain reaction channels because of what they say and it makes her feel some kind of way. This is on a more personal level. So I want us to listen to this and we're going to have a little bit of a conversation. Um, and then I'm going to show you something else in that documentary at the end. So let's get back over here to Chantal and let her take it away for a minute.
Support your channel? Or do you think that one day when you meet your maker, you're going to be You're gonna have to atone for that. Me, I've said some bad things in my life, but nothing compared to how I used to be before Islam, that's for sure. I've lost my mind sometimes and gone off in rage. I know that's entertaining for you, but for me, that's a very push to the edge emotional response of being bullied and harassed for years.
Okay, so, she's saying, I was horrible before Islam. Those things have been forgiven. I am a new being. I have changed. Okay. You literally fled from Kuwait. That is actually worse behavior than where you were before. On top of it, you would sit outside surrounded by other people in a Muslim country, cussing and screaming and saying the most inappropriate, vile things. And I was also there when one day you said, I am working really hard this year, guys. This Ramadan, I am going to control my anger. I am going to be a new woman. And then the very next day, you started screaming and throwing a fit. And somebody in your chat said, Foodie, you need to calm down. You don't need to use this language. It's Ramadan. I cannot believe you are doing this during Ramadan. And with your whole chest, you looked in that camera and you said, F Ramadan. I won't even say the word and then follow that with Ramadan. Even though I am not a Muslim, I do know how to respect other religions and I will not disrespect it in that manner because Ramadan is a very sacred time. And you, as a changed, new creature, Muslim woman, that was your response to that. So, really, the delusion is insane with this one.
I don't have a hate channel. I don't have one.
You do have a hate channel. I have seen the drawings you have done of all the reaction channels. I have heard the things that you have said about them. I have heard the things that you have said about other people in general. I There is a difference in pointing out something that is wrong and saying, ma'am, you have an issue, because it is something else to strictly go off on somebody because they irritated you.
Oh, well, I don't think Allah is going to care that I farted once or that I was addicted to coke. Anything that I did before I was Muslim is forgiven.
However, I do think that Allah is going to care that you have broken a whole lot of rules when it comes to your religion. But I also think He will deeply care about the F Ramadan statement that you made. It's real easy to say that stuff in anger and act like you never did. Honey, if you believe you have a creator and you think you're going to stand in front of him and answer for that and you're going to be fine, then you're a bigger person than I am, because I would not risk that.
They don't think about themselves exactly. They don't have any inner um what would you call that? Inner self-reflection. Like they don't self-reflect at all. That's a problem. But that's their problem. I mean, so that's who that person is.
Okay, we're going to talk about self reflection for a minute. And I'm going to talk about myself for just a minute. Um, First of all, I think a lot of us do self reflect. It is hard to consume this content and not ever look at yourself and think, am I like that? Would I be okay with that? Whatever, because we're commenting on it. Um, the other thing is that we are putting ourselves out here for the world to see, and we are sharing our thoughts and our feelings, and that puts a target on us. That has people looking at us and inspecting us and what we do. Also, for some of us, we have a lot of introspection and self reflection. Um, I suffer from strokes that jump from hemisphere to hemisphere, which is not normal. That should not ever happen. Um, I also have seizures that trap me in my body. And my seizures, if they are bad enough, can lead to strokes. My seizures and the strokes are remapping parts of my brain. Like my brain in parts is caving in on itself and dying. So I am slowly losing myself every day. Um, I don't know what tomorrow will be for me. I don't know if I will be here tomorrow. So, with that being said, I spend a lot of time in self reflection and looking at my life and living every day. If this is my last day, am I living it how I want to? And I am. My doctor literally looked at me and said, live your best life. And my husband said, what would you like to do? And I said, I don't know. I always thought it would be great to have a reaction channel, maybe make a difference in the world. Maybe someone could learn something from me like I have from Pulpy and Are You Serious and Fat Cow. Maybe I can figure out how to make people laugh. Some of my worst days have been turned around because of Milky and Yaba, because of how much joy and laughter they bring with their reactions. So I believe a lot of us have self reflection. She does not, because at no point below a surface level has she ever said, there is an issue here and I need to fix it, and then put in the work to fix it. She seems to think that she is indestructible and she will be around forever, and it doesn't matter how she lives. That's why it's not such a big deal for her. She does not realize her days are probably just as numbered as mine are, just for different reasons.
Apparently, I've never watched a single one of their videos, but I've heard plenty of people tell me, Salah has seen, like, bad for the blood pressure. Yeah. Uh, how is what I'm doing right now any different? I'm just saying, basic. Did I insult anybody? What did I say insulting? I'm describing a situation very calmly. I don't have an entire hate channel talking about other people. I don't take people's content every single day and make a stream ganging up on the same person and saying very vile things about them. Do I? No. Rosemary's! They love the attention. They're vultures. Exactly like I said. No, somebody asked who that was, so I was explaining who that was. You called her nuts. Yes, Jan. Who he beaching about? Uh, just that and the other, as usual.
Okay, the channels that she's talking about, if you don't know, she's speaking on Are You Serious? And she is also speaking on a new channel in this space called Falafel Reacts. Um, and I think this is part of the reason. And later in the stream, she starts talking about the fact that Salal doesn't want her to do YouTube anymore. Salal doesn't want to be on camera anymore. Like, it is a big deal. This is becoming a real issue for them. And I think a big part of it is that, first of all, Are You Serious? Is Muslim. They have lived in the Middle East before, and they are everything that Foodie wishes she was. They are soft spoken, they are kind. Even when somebody gets a little out of hand in their chat, I have never heard them say anything more than no, no, thank you. This is not happening in my chat, guys. I cannot accept that. However, because of their Muslim background and living in the Middle East, when Chantal says something that isn't true, when she behaves in a manner that is inappropriate or, just doesn't get it, Are You Serious is able to say, okay, now, as a Muslim, this is what it is. This is how this works. I have learned about so much about Middle Eastern culture and how the dynamics work, and how the different factions are intertwined, and where they agree and where they disagree, all because of Are You Serious? The other one, and this is the one that I think is the biggest threat to them, and I think it's why Salah wants her off of YouTube so fast. The other one is Falafel Reacts, and every single one of their videos says the title and then Arab Reacts. Not only is she Arab, she speaks Arabic fluently. So she will sit and she will say, "Hello, welcome to my video. This is who I am. This is what we're covering." And then looks at the camera and does it all in Arabic. So not only is she in full authority to comment, if anybody is, to comment on what is going on, she is translating everything into Arabic, which now means that everybody surrounding Salah and Chantal can fully understand and grasp everything that's going on. Salah had a safety net. Chantal can't speak, she doesn't speak Arabic, and they don't speak English, so he didn't have to worry about her mouth getting them in trouble. Now he does. That's that's where her issue is with reaction channels. Why is it such a big deal suddenly? Because before, reaction channels were just holding it up to Foodie and, making comments here and there about Salah. But now they're holding both of them up and saying, here's the issue. And they are now risking being found out by everybody around them. And I think they are scared that people are going to start seeing through that. After the whole Bruce situation in Kuwait, a lot of people moved over to reaction channels. They were done with Foodie in that moment. That was the thing that clicked and opened their eyes, because they looked at her and they said, I may be just like her. I may agree with her on everything. I may whatever. But even I am not that vile. So maybe they have something to prove. So we're going to click back on over here. And the rest of this, it is literally him playing music and letting her give her sob story about food and how much she wants to change and how wonderful it would be to change. And it's the same stuff we have heard a million times. He doesn't actually show anything that's really about how she behaves. But they decided to end this documentary with this screen. And I'm going to move my big old head out of the way. And it says, I'm creating this documentary because I believe every person deserves to have their story told. For years, Chantal has been seen only through controversy, criticism, and gossip. But behind every headline is a child who grew up, a family with history, and a woman still redefining herself. Every life is more complicated than what we see online. Let's try to remember the human being beneath the drama. Chantal is someone who needs love and support. She has gone through a lot in her life, medical issues, addictions, families, and relationships like many of us. The vultures on the internet who make their money from lies and twisting truth only care about how many views they get. But that doesn't mean you have to be a part of that process. Reaction videos shouldn't resort to destroying people's lives. Thanks for watching. We are all Chantal. I don't know about you, but I am not Chantal. In no way, shape, or form. I don't want to be anything like her. This People see reaction channels as a danger because reaction channels are willing to stand there and do the thing that a lot of people don't do. It is very easy for us to sit in our houses and share our opinions with friends and family, and even that sometimes leads to disagreements. But reaction channels are willing to come online and say out loud what you guys are thinking. And then we put our reputation and our faces on the line for it. And that means that the people that follow her are either forced to immediately throw up the curtain of delusion and say everything I say is hate, everything is lies, everything is wrong, Or they then have to stop and look at themselves. Where this person is presenting that we are destroying Chantal's life, and reaction channels always have, that's not the case. It is her actions, it is her words, it is her behavior that is destroying her life. We are not forcing her to shove another ounce of food down her face. We are not forcing her to exploit children. We did not force her to run to Syria. Nobody is doing any of those things. It is her actions. I actually believe that without reaction channels, this world would be worse off because there wouldn't be people willing to stand up. There wouldn't be people willing to spend time and effort saying, you guys may not care. You guys may not realize that there is a Syrian child with special needs that's being exploited. And you might not know it because you live in the UK or you live in America or you live in Canada, so you aren't seeing it. But I'm going to sit here every day and talk about the fact that this child is being exploited because I care about a random child in Syria that this is happening to. And I want the rest of the world to care. And if enough of us care, something will happen. I think reaction channels, maybe they should change their name to accountability channels, honestly. Um, I think they do more good than they do harm. And honestly, if the people that are being reacted to could set aside their pride and their ego and all the narcissism and genuinely listen and take the criticism to heart and say, is this real? Is this really how I behave? And then change, reaction channels would stop reacting. What is there to react to anymore? We would have to find somebody else to then react to and give suggestions to and offer help to through, the act of criticism until they then change. He said that reaction channels ruin the internet. I don't believe so. I think reaction channels are currently saving the internet. Um, they are they are there to help us consume this content. They hold our hands through it. They help us laugh through it. Um, and I honestly think that if somebody says that they have an issue with a reaction channel, especially if they're in Amber's chat or Foodie's chat or Rosie's chat, even, um, it might it might do good to take a closer look at those people and see what it is about them that makes them feel so uncomfortable with criticism and honest critique. So, as I said, I have seen the light. I finally fully understand how these people watch and defend her, but it's because they are her. I mean, he states it real proud at the end. We are all Chantal. Yes, everybody in her chat is. You are her. You are standing there and claiming loud and proud that you are just like her. Then it be me, guys. Well, with that, I hope you have found enlightenment. Um, and I am going to remind you guys that you need to be good and you need to behave yourselves. However, if that is too much to ask, I ask that you at least make me proud with whatever it is that you do and that you then post it on the internet, tag me in it, so we can react to it and talk about it because, it's what I do. I'll see you guys later. Ah, guys, my mouse died. So much for a cool outro. I just can't seem to win with the internet today.